Today is quite an incredible day because I get to drive this. This is the final prototype of the Toyota LandCruiser 300 series. Now you might have seen this car already revealed some time ago, but I'm kind of talking to you from the past because before that reveal event, Toyota has invited us to a top secret event to get behind the wheel of this car before it was released. Now, I could stand here and wax lyrical all day about how important this car is for Australia, but I'm not going to because I can get behind the wheel and actually go for a drive and see how good this thing is. Let's go. It's definitely the most talked about new vehicle release this year and potentially the biggest one of the decade. After 14 years of 200 series, we've finally got a new LandCruiser to sink our teeth into. You've probably already heard about the new engine by now. It's a 3.3 litre twin-turbo diesel V6. It beats the old 4.5 litre V8 for power and torque, despite being smaller. It makes 227 kilowatts. That's an improvement of 27 kilowatts over the outgoing 200 series. And there's 700 Newton meters as well. That is a jump of 50 Newton meters. This is Toyota's first diesel V6, and it's their first hot V configured engine. That means the turbos are nestled in between the V of the 6. And another first is the 10-speed automatic transmission. That replaces a 6-speed on the 200 series. This is all mounted onto a new platform as well. It's a modular ladder chassis platform that Toyota calls TNGA-F. While it's almost exactly the same size overall, the new LandCruiser is approximately 200 kilos lighter than the 200 series which it replaces. We are going to be driving a hand-built prototype, which at the time was the only one in the world outside of Japan. Prototypes like this one have been testing in Australia since 2015, and Toyota tells us that this one in particular has been through what they call durability hell. And Toyota also brought along a diesel V8 powered 200 series LandCruiser for this drive as well for back-to-back comparisons. This is probably the most expensive Toyota LandCruiser of all time, even more expensive than one of the last V8s, funnily enough, because Toyota has spent a lot of time and money building this car up and testing it over the years around Australia. Now, while this isn't the final product, it's a great opportunity to see what this new powertrain is like, and it's what everyone has been talking about. The V8 is gone for the 200 series. It will be sticking around for the 70, however. But this new V6, it's a 3.3 litre twin-turbo V6. In many respects, it is better than the old V8. We've been back-to-back testing these things on bitumen, on dirt, high speed, low speed stuff, a bit of off-road as well. And what I've found is that this new engine, it doesn't absolutely leave the old one in the weeds. Performance is a little bit similar. However, this one does have better acceleration. It takes off a bit better. The 80 to 120 k's an hour performance is better. We also had the opportunity to load up with a trailer. We put a 3-ton trailer on the back that had about 300 kilos of ball weight as well. And the performance gap between the two engines widened a little bit more in that test. Now, one thing I do like about this V6 is that it kind of sounds like the old V8 in a way. You can hear it thumping away there under the bonnet a little bit. It's not obtrusive, but it does feel like a bit of an engine that you want in a LandCruiser. You want to hear it doing the job. And I think this does it quite well. Now, one thing I do like about this car is the 10-speed automatic gearbox. I've driven a few 10 speeds over the years now, and this one, probably the best thing about it is that it doesn't feel like a 10-speed. You don't feel it shunting around all the time, picking different ratios, lessening what could be a refined experience. This feels like, for all intents and purposes, the old 6-speed gearbox. It just happens to have 4 more handy. In terms of ride and handling, this LandCruiser, they've used aluminium panels on a steel body, and it's still a ladder chassis underneath. That's all steel as well. But it's about 200 kilos lighter than the outgoing 200 series LandCruiser. And it does feel a little bit more nimble. Electric steering is lighter, it's much more direct, the body doesn't wallow around as much. Although we did find on high-speed dirt, the front end did start to oscillate around a little bit. Now, this car has had a hard life, so that could be the shock absorbers saying that they may be a little bit tired, and this thing does have a bull bar and winch mounted up front as well, so it's worth keeping those things into account. And in terms of off-road ability, we did have a lot of rain today, and the testing we were doing was on pretty slippery clay surfaces. So the limiting factor for both vehicles, 200 series and 300 series, was just the tires. Not much stuff other than a mud terrain was going to be gripping well on the tracks we drove. However, first impressions did seem to be quite good. There's a new KDSS system that offers more articulation in this new LandCruiser, but we will reserve full judgment until a little bit later on. The true test of reliability and durability, just like any other new car, will only come through time. But in terms of performance, this new LandCruiser does move things forward in most, if not all, respects. It's lighter, more powerful, has more gear ratios and more traction aids for off-road driving. But is there another new model in Australia with bigger boots to fill than this new LandCruiser? I think not. Now, naturally, I can't pass a complete verdict on this LandCruiser because at the end of the day, this is a hand-built prototype vehicle through the pre-production phase. This is their actual test vehicle for building the new LandCruiser. But it's been a great opportunity to get some insight into this new vehicle and how it will perform. Yes, it's not a V8 anymore, it's a smaller engine, but it performs wonderfully. I particularly like that 10-speed gearbox. It works well in combination with the twin-turbo V6. And I also like the fact that Toyota hasn't changed the recipe too much. It's still a ladder chassis, it's got a live rear end, independent front end. It's all stuff that works and is to a degree proven to work in Australia. So while a lot of people will prefer the old V8, I reckon a lot of others will come around to this new V6. Now, let me know in the comments below, do you reckon this new LandCruiser will fit the bill perfectly, or would you prefer the older V8 200 series? And if you like this video, please consider subscribing to Drive on YouTube. Hit the like button while you're there, and as always, head over to Drive.com.au for the full story.